The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I'd like to take a moment to thank GOP Congressman Markwayne Mullin. At a town hall yesterday, a self-identified birther princess tried to spout nonsense about the president being born in Kenya. But don't worry, he was having none of it.
My question is, what do you know about Obama's identification fraud?
Let me just stop you right there. You're talking about the birth certificate? Mm-hmm. We lost that argument November 6th.
Thank you, Republicans. That's the way you talk to a self-proclaimed birther princess. This is refreshing, isn't it? Let's hear a little more straight talk from the congressman.
I believe what you're saying, and I don't support this president whatsoever. Who would have thought we'd ever actually be questioning if we had a natural-born president being president? I believe it's still there, but guys, if we didn't prove the first 4 years, what do you think the chances are now?
The chances are none. This is the problem with the GOP. Instead of debunking the birther princess, they shine her crown. Wonder why we see gridlock? Why there's so little getting done is because Republicans are embracing this rhetoric from their base.
I want Boehner up there defying this guy and saying we're going to impeachment with you if you do not start obeying the laws. Listen, we're dying out here because you guys are being nice guys. This is not a Boy Scout meeting.
It's not, and you're acting like Boy Scouts. You gotta fight.
Because we're losing the country. I want to see more defiance. We've seen this dozens of times where Boehner will not fight, where McConnell will not fight.
Are we talking about the same McConnell? Does he know a different Boehner than I do? The problem isn't that the right's not being defiant enough. It's that they're letting their far-right base drive them right over the cliff. Joining me now, Goldie Taylor and Ryan Grimm. Thank you both for coming on the show tonight.
Good to be here.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
Goldie, let me start with you. Is that what all this gridlock in Washington is about, appealing to this far-right base?
Well, it certainly is. You know, Reverend Sharpton, I've been on campaign trails in and out for nearly 25 years. And this used to be the stuff of whisper campaigns, the kind of things that you kept inside of a campaign, really at the local and grassroots level. We have watched it sort of manifest itself on the national stage, you know, over the last 5 to 6 years in ways that really are quite surprising to me, that these kinds of rumors, innuendos have taken on sort of mainstream prominence. And so you're watching the Daily Caller, you're watching Newsbusters, you're watching websites out there that are pushing this stuff actively, and then you're watching it make it to mainstream media in ways that the GOP establishment cannot contain really the way that they used to be able to. This used to be a tool, and now it's going to work to their detriment.
Now, Ryan, by the way, this latest birther congressman I played, he had this to say about his comments after they came out. The spokeswoman releases this statement saying, quote, he doesn't support the birther argument. He just misspoke when he said that. He, however, did not misspeak when he says, I do not support this president whatsoever. I'm so happy for the explanation, Ryan.
Right. What you're getting this summer at these town halls is really the worst of all worlds for Republicans, because you know, it's just enough crazy to embarrass the Republican leaders back here in Washington, but it's not enough crazy to kind of derail, say, immigration reform. You know, compare the energy around these town halls to what you felt back in August of 2009 when there was that reaction against against health care reform. You know, a lot of that was organized by Freedom Works and some of these other AstroTurf groups. But it's clear that if you compare it to now, the intensity was so much stronger, and they almost took down health care reform as a result of it. You know, they took out the Senate supermajority. So, but now you're not seeing that at all, and so people are going to come back to Washington and say, well, actually, there wasn't this crazy outburst about immigration reform. There were a lot of people that said a lot of idiotic things that embarrassed us, but there was no kind of groundswell of opposition. So this is, I think, it is really the worst of all worlds for it.
So what kind of questions do we have? Let's go ahead and get started. Yes, ma'am. You got to introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Mickey Booth.
Yes, Mickey.
From Wyandotte. And I have to inform you that you have the bad luck of having the birther princess in your district. My question is, what do you know about Obama's identification fraud?
Let me just stop you right there. You're talking about the birth certificate?
Mm-hmm.
We lost that argument November 6th.
I'm sorry?
We lost that argument November 6th. We had 4 years to get that proven. We didn't. We re-elected him, so that's a dead issue.
No, it isn't. Because I have something here for you. I'm
Hold
going
on.
to bring this
No,
up.
hold on. Actually, I honestly,
Well-
I don't even give a shit. I'll be.
Okay, this is a 71-page affidavit from Mike Zulo, who is the detective of Sheriff Arpaio's cold case Posse. This is the evidence that the birth certificate and the
Ma'am, I get that. I get that. Okay, but here's the thing. We've been saying this for 4 years, and do you know what you do? And I'm just bear with me.
No, you bear with me, okay? There's
Ma'am,
three congressmen. There's Steve Stockman.
Here's
there's
what's
Ted
gonna
Yoho,
happen.
and there's Luke.
Okay.
Luke.
Ma'am, November 6th, we had the opportunity to elect another president. I'm not saying I support this guy. If you've ever listened to anything I've said, I don't support him whatsoever.
But the man is a fraud, and here's the proof that his birth certificate is a forgery.
Do you know?
Okay, well, let me give you this.
Let me use it. I already told you I'm not going to take it. Here's what
He's
happens.
committed a crime,
Nikki,
and we've got.
Mickey, here's what happens. No, I'm just going to, guys, just bear with me. Because this isn't the first time we've got this. Just bear with me on this, okay?
But there's three congressmen that believe that it should be brought into Congress and be investigated.
Would you like to stay in the meetings? Just listen to me just a second. And guys, I'm not defending this guy. Please understand what I'm saying. I'm not defending this guy. But have you ever seen those Christians that are on the street corners that are screaming scripture at cars they drive by? Now, I believe they've got great intentions. I believe, honestly, that they're Christian individuals. But let me ask you something. Are they doing any good? No, they're not. And I believe what you're saying, and I don't support this president whatsoever.
But he's not a real president.
But, man, we lost November 6th. We had the opportunity to get another president in there, and like it or not,
So he's
this
above
guy,
the law. He's not going to be held accountable to a crime that goes to the very root of what he's doing to this Constitution. He was a fraud. He got in. He's got all.
Mickey,
Here's all the
I want you to
evidence that
stay.
it's a
I want
fraud.
you to stay. I want you to stay, and you can stay. But we've got a lot of meetings, and a lot of
No,
questions.
he's above the law. There's
That's
nothing you can do.
Guys, it has nothing to do with anybody being above the law. And please understand what I'm saying when I say this. We had 4 years to take care of that. Our country's facing some serious issues.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.